Here we go, dogs, everybody, dogs, dogs, dogs. Just sleeping here. They're just we arrived here and we thought they were going to cross north. I think they may still cross north, but they've just lain down here in the clearing. Whew. We drove here at a substantial speed. This is so exciting. My favorite thing to be doing in the bush at the moment is looking at wild dogs. Sorry, Bryan, is your spinal column still intact?
Barely.
Is it shorter than it was before?
Yeah, a little bit compacted.
Isn't this fantastic? So they came across, we had word that they came running across from Arethusa, from One-Eye Pan, which is a waterhole on Arethusa. I assume they were chasing something because they got here very quickly. They arrived in this clearing and they've gone to sleep. Right, we're just going to move. We'll also be probably using the VR rig, so if I start pointing things out left and right and you can't see them, don't worry about that. You tell me when you're recording on that thing, will you? Incredible sighting here. On the left, one dog, a male. Looks like the alpha with his torn ear. Just trying to identify which pack this is. And then to the front and right, you can see two others on the ground, and further to the right, another. Just walking through the clearing, obviously trying to pick up the scent of something. I can't see how many there are in total. And obviously to the far right, the sun just peeping through the clouds. Above us, a beautiful steel grey sky. Here comes the dog now. Looks like the alpha male. I don't think this is the Investic pack, though. Isn't this magnificent? Look how close he is. He's only about maybe 3 meters from us. Now, I don't know which pack this is. I'm going to guess that it is the Sands pack, simply because I don't see all 12 members of the Investic pack. And this chap, the alpha in the Investic pack, has got a mangled ear, but I think he's got 2 mangled ears. Here they go. They're moving now. They're on the move. Probably going to cross to the north, but let's follow them anyway. Keep looking to the left. There's another game driver, obviously, and 2 dogs in front, the male in front of us, and then in front of that, another one. There, straight underneath it. Just look straight in front of us underneath the tree there. There's another one lying down. 3 to the left, 1 in front, 1 further in front, and 1 then in the center. So we've got 4 actually to the left. And Linda Grave, you agree with me. You say this is the Sands pack. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One of them has got an injury there. Just a nick on the shoulder. You can see the one on the in front of that little group. Looks like a youngster, a pup from this year, and they look to be crossing north now, unfortunately. Oh, going into Buffelshoek, everyone. What a brilliant sighting. Oh, can you smell them, Bryan? Delicious. Beautiful smell. Zoe, on Twitter, you want to know, you say, oh, hang on, I'll get to you now, Zoe. I just want to get past these. Let's go and drive. Up, Sharon. Morning. Oh, there they go. They're going into Buffelshoek. I'm just going to stay parallel with them for now. There they run. Just see where they go. We can't go in there, unfortunately. But Zoe, you say you didn't think about dogs out here, of course, because they're not considered an iconic African animal normally, are they? You're absolutely right. They're not like coyotes, though. They are much more like wolves. They are the African equivalent of wolves. Very similar social structure, very similar hunting strategy. Yeah, they still, you can just see them going through the woodland there. I'm so glad we got to see them. Well, Bryan, it's been lean times for me, but that's made up for it all, hasn't it? We'll just stop over here. There's a little bit of a clearing. Now, our beard, you want to know if wild dogs are actually related to domestic dogs, or if they are, in fact, like a hyena. No, they are related to domestic dogs in so much as they're from the same family. So they come from the family Canidae. The domestic dog, I suppose, would be known as Canis domesticus, which means domestic dog. They are not from the same genus, though, whereas jackals and wolves are from the same genus. They're from the Canis genus, so they're much more closely related. A step away from that would be these wild dogs, which are in the genus Lycaon, which is not the same. It doesn't have any other representative, so they're in a genus distinct from all the others, but that does mean that they can't interbreed with any other dog. But they are susceptible to other canine dog diseases like rabies and canine distemper. That's one of the reasons they are so endangered. Oh, marvelous.
From Buffelshoek downside.
Sorry, Leanne, you're going to have to go again with that. There's some waterbuck on the road, an impala on the road, but I think they're coming towards here.
Crazy can approach all next station. You can say that.
Rich Levine, you're interested in what the largest animal a pack of wild dogs could take down. Here they normally only take down things the size of impala. It's very seldom that they take down anything larger than that. But in East Africa, they will absolutely take down things like wildebeest. I'm not sure why they don't bother here. We have seen them go for a herd of wildebeest here once, but the wildebeest turn around and chase the dogs off. I think it's probably because impala are easier pickings. There's so many of them here. I'm just going to keep listening here.
I'm on a route in the center. You can take your time there. Focus on from the side.
So we'll just follow along here and make sure that they don't come across. So, as I was saying, highly endangered. The most endangered carnivore is something called the simian wolf, which is found in Ethiopia, and it's like a jackal, basically. And it's a very beautiful animal, but not quite as exciting as the wild dogs. And you may have heard me say there to Bryan, we could smell them, and it's such a nice smell. It's not it's a nice smell because it's an exciting smell, but it's not a nice smell because it's a delicious smell, is it, Bryan? If you think of your wettest and grubbiest dog, that is what it smells like, and it is an unmistakably doggy smell. People, there's an incredible sighting going on. This is the best possible view we can get, I'm afraid, though, but you can see all the dogs and the hyenas chasing each other. I think the dogs killed a baby zebra, if I heard the radio correctly. That's what's going on. Anyway, we can't go any closer than this, but isn't that astonishing? They kind of have come to an arrangement, it looks like, where they're prepared to tolerate each other, but I think that's simply because there are more hyenas there than there are dogs, and so the hyenas have now stolen the kill. And the best thing that we saw, come herring across the road, was little June, aged just over 6 months now, well, 8 months, born in June. She came rushing out across the road to join the fray there, and is now probably eating on her first scavenged meal, perhaps. Now, you see, every time those hyenas turn their backs, the dogs will go in on them. But we can't go any closer than this, I'm afraid. Anyway, very nice. I mean, incredible. It looks, at this distance, it just looks like they're the kind of similar-looking animals to sharing some meat. But they've been having a right royal rumpus, as it were.
Yeah, go ahead. You didn't have any further sign of being performers,
Amazing. Anyway, we're going to keep, I think we're just going to stand by here and see what happens. They might come back this way. Yeah, they're moving again. Ah, Dino, what a brilliant question. You're from Washington State. I'm not sure we've heard from you before, so very nice if we haven't. Thank you for watching us, and thank you for sending a question. Especially thank you for telling us where you are. Dino, you say that how, if you see dogs for the first time, do you know who the alpha is? Dino, it's just from their behavior, basically. In a pack like this, it will normally be the male, or the alpha. There is an alpha pair. The alpha male will lead the hunt. So if you ever see them on the hunt or on the move, the alpha male will be the one in front. The alpha female can lead a hunt, but normally it's the alpha male. And that's the best way to tell. He's normally the oldest and largest male, but they're so similarly sized that it's not often the best way of telling. It's only when they're moving can you truly tell. If you know a pack, though, or if you know wild dogs, just hold on a sec. Go ahead.
Where are you?
Sandy patch.
Yeah, there's a message I just got a cocos that's coming to the south.
Okay, copy text. Can I come onto the 5 road?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we've been called in, everybody. This is very exciting. Apparently there's a hyena dragging a kill this way. There, the hyena's there. So we're now not in the dog sighting officially, so we can be here officially. There they are. They're the hyenas. Let's try and get through this area. I can smell blood. And cat in Tampa, you're absolutely right. You say, look at the size comparison. Absolutely, there's a huge size difference, isn't there?
All right.
So there you can see the young hyenas. You can see the adults are eating. The dogs have all off. You can probably saw the flash of the vehicles to the left. The dogs are all over there. And as cat, you're absolutely right. You can see the difference in size. A wild dog is much more slightly built than a hyena is. There's a jackal. There's a black-backed jackal in there as well. You see that? Did you get it, Bryan?
Where are you looking?
It's straight in front of us. I'm just going to pull forward. It's the first black-backed jackal I've seen here. Yeah, just Bryan, is unbelievable. There it is.
I don't know where you're looking.
Straight through there, Bryan. There, it's just moving next to the big hyena.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Thank you very much. Did you check the tab of the English?
That is so cool. I'm just going to roll back. It's just awesome. 2 dog species, yeah? Now, for those of you who don't know what a jackal is, the jackal is basically the evolutionary equivalent here of a coyote. There we have all the hyenas. I know it's not a great view, everyone. I shall try and go back. Let me try and just go back a bit. dogs are just watching on, looking at their kill, which seems to be in a pile of rubble, which is a little disconcerting. Now we can see them all. What did they kill? Bryan, what do you think it was? Now that jackal is taking its life in its hands coming through here. Now, Vincent from Ohio, interesting question. You say, were the painted dogs of Africa introduced like the dingoes of Australia, or are they naturally occurring? No, they're completely naturally occurring. They're not like the dingoes of Australia at all. Hyenas now fighting with each other. There's the jackal. The jackal's coming in again.
Also in the tree.
It's bizarre. I've never seen a black-backed jackal in the Sabi Sands. Well, I've seen one or two, but it's not usual.
The northern and the southern side.
Look how fat belly, you fat thing.
Northern side of the road.
That is definitely from our den. Is that? I think that's probably Madam.
East of that, to the left side of that commander.
Really not her best angle. Stolen from the doggies. They're just lying off to the side, looking a bit miserable. I'll try and find out what they've killed here. I don't think it's a zebra, do you, Bryan?
I don't know.
I'll just ask Tex on quickly. Tex, what did they kill? It was a baby kudu. Copy, thanks. It was a young kudu. Now, I don't know if any of you were watching the other night when we watched the Nkahuma Pride killing a baby zebra. Yeah, there go the dogs. They're chasing the jackal. Let's go. They seem to be going further into Buffelshoek now. Anyway, we watched that zebra being kind of eaten alive, which was very disconcerting to see. And people often ask questions about the savagery of wild dogs and why don't they kill the animals first. The death for any prey of wild dogs is often much faster than it is for the prey of lions. The dogs are still around. I think they were just chasing that jackal off simply because, you know, they could take it out on the jackal because they're bigger than the jackal. What an incredible, incredible thing to see. Good morning. Sorry? Not champagne, no. I'm just talking to the internet. All right. Hello, Virginia in Kentucky. I missed your question. Sorry, there was somebody next to me asking if I had any champagne on board, which I don't. Could you go again with that question? Bye-bye. Leanne, please go again with Virginia's question. Sorry, then after I was disconcerted by that request from next door, I then unplugged myself. Virginia, sorry, once more, can we have your question? Oh, right, yes, Virginia, you say, so glad that my dry spell is over. I'm absolutely relieved that my dry spell is over. Incredible sighting. There go some hyenas. They're going back towards the den. Bryan, there's huge action going on here now. The dogs are running around. They're gathering their numbers. There's one or two hyenas. They immediately picked up that the numbers were back in their favor. But of course, this is all over now as a kill. And I think what we'll find is that these hyenas will disappear back to the den, and the dogs will go off and the dogs will go off and try and catch something else. There, one of the hyenas is charging through there. And Spotted Aussie from Perth, you want to know if this is the same group of hyenas that we're watching all the time? Yes, absolutely it is. There's a hyena coming right through here. It's a scarback female. Here we go. The dogs are chasing the young hyenas. This is unbelievable. This is incredible. I'm just going to be quiet. Just watch this. Right in front of the car. I can't go back, everyone. I can't move. There. This hyena might be killed. The dogs everywhere here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You see, nobody wants to get it. None of them want to get right in there. This hyena's in big trouble. None of them want to get in the way of those jaws. I can't. The smell is unbelievable around here. Dogs, hyena. Listen to the hyena. And look at the backside. Look at the backside of that hyena. It's been absolutely mauled. Just watch there. More hyenas running across the road into Buffelshoek, a little distance away from us. I'm astounded that that one hyena managed to fight off 10 dogs. How's that, Bryan? Sorry, I need to plug myself back in my excitement. I unplugged myself. Okay, Leanne, I'm back in. One hyena, 10 wild dogs. So close, we couldn't even see them. And incredible that those dogs did not want to have anything to do with the business end of that hyena. They tore at her backside, and if she hadn't backed up against that tree behind us, I'm pretty sure. She hadn't backed up against that tree. Apparently Scott is with the hyena. Let's go across to him.
Welcome back, everyone. And isn't this awesome? Chaos and confusion. There's 2 hyenas just ahead of us. Hello and goodbye.
Good morning.
And there's 2 hyenas just going off to our left here. James is in front of us, so we're currently kind of, directly in front of him. We're going to send you straight back to him now. It looks like he's got some better views than us.
Well, We're still with the dog, so I just wanted to say that hyena backed itself very cleverly into this tree, and what it did was then make sure that the backside, which had been torn already by those dogs to pieces, was then protected, and none of those dogs, not one of them, was prepared to get near the business end of that hyena, because with those jaws, with those incredibly powerful jaws, the most powerful jaws in Africa, that hyena would have done some very serious damage to any dog that got into the way. One bite on the limb of one of these dogs would cut a limb off, and the dogs know that. And despite the fact that they were overwhelmingly odds in their favor, despite that, they backed off, and the hyena, well, we'll see. Remains to be seen whether the injuries will harm it for the long term, but I suspect not. You can see how scarred those hyenas always are, and that's because they get into scraps like this and they survive. Here we go. Here we go. I think they're going to kill again. I think they've killed again. Charging towards the dam. Right, I think they've killed in there. This is as far as we can come. They've killed again. They've killed inside there.
We can have a look at an Ellie.
Wat laat hele? Andrew, wat laat hele? Get on. Okay, we can go back to the hyena with Scott quickly. And there's an elephant there, of course, as well.
Well, isn't this exciting, everyone? Absolute pandemonium is breaking out here. And I'm hoping that James manages to get some views from our northern boundary. Sadly, we can't go any further. Look at this hyena. They're looking for tiny little scraps. I think it could be. Obviously, I haven't been here, so I don't know exactly where the carcass was torn apart. But it looks like this hyena is looking for some scraps. Wonderful. What are you looking for? It seemed to try and nibble on something earlier, but maybe it is just sniffing the scent trail of either the wild dogs and or the other hyena. What is that dripping? Why is it urinating like a broken tap? I've never seen a hyena in this state before.
Maybe it's a must.
Wium has suggested that it is in a sexually heightened stage called must, which is only typical of elephants. What are you doing? So it's purposefully kind of urinating, possibly marking scent. Maybe it's two different clans of hyena that have converged on this area. Mission, you would like to know, where is the hyena den from here? It's not far away at all. It's about half a mile away to the south of us. This certainly is interesting. It looks like this also could be a male to me. Maybe not. Just trying to see if I don't recognize it from our den. Which I don't. She's covered in scars. I'm not sure if any of you guys recognize her. Anyway, her or him, I can't tell whether it is a male or a female, but really interesting behavior to see how it was just dribbling a little trail of urine as it was walking there. certainly leaving behind some kind of a message to the other hyena. Good, we're going to send you back to James.
I'm just waving at Scott there, and we've got an elephant bull, a magnificent elephant bull here, and he's sitting at the dam, perhaps thinking about having a drink, and he's standing with his ears out like that because he can hear what's going on in the bush to the east of the dam. That's to the right of your picture, and there, the pack of dogs has seemingly killed something else, but they've gone quiet now. I think it must have been something very small, possibly a scrub hare. That is a wild guess. But they went quiet quite quickly, so whatever it was devoured. Isn't that bull great?
Andrew, can I come back and join you?
He is absolutely magnificent. That's a big old bull, that one.
Back, south, so
they're coming back south, the dogs. So we'll just keep watching.
All right, copy.
And Scott is probably in the correct position to get them if they do pop out of Buffelshoek.
Andrew, just please let us know if they're here, back towards the cut line.
And there goes the bull. And he will be going to investigate. He won't like having predators around. For some reason, the elephants are very, well, they don't like any predators around, but I mean, even no dog would ever pose a threat to an elephant. And Brent had the most unbelievable sighting a little while back where the dogs were chasing, that is, the elephants were chasing the dogs away from a little puddle of water at Treehouse Dam repeatedly. So they just don't like the predators. I'm just going to move because he's standing behind the one bush. Oh, there's a grey hornbill. Well done, Bryan. Southern grey hornbill. It's dipping flight. Let's move so that we can see this elephant having his drink. There we go. Also, just be over there, I can actually, you won't be able to see them. I just saw a dog running through the clearing, through the back there, and I mean, if it hadn't been in the middle of a drought, I definitely wouldn't have seen him. It might be worth just standing by right here to see what happens. You can see the elephant is not quite comfortable yet. And all suddenly is peace.
Andrew, those like the city's done now.
This is amazing. There's a dog, Bryan. There, it's coming up towards the dam wall. Coming to the dam. Here comes a dog. Aru, you want to know why it is that the other hyenas didn't come and help that one? I think that's a very good question. I don't know. I can only think that they'd gone away, but they would have heard that definite fight that they were having, and normally hyenas will rush in to help each other when they hear a noise like that. Maybe they were engaged in a fight of their own over some food. I definitely saw one or two of them, the youngsters, running north into Buffelshoek, so maybe they were chasing something else. I don't know. But that was, to me, the most incredible demonstration. I mean, we had that zebra kill the other day, raw wilderness, and that fight, that savagery, that true fight for survival was absolutely unbelievable to watch. Just, yeah, and then suddenly all is peace. This incredible kind of peace is now just infusing me. And as Wicked Blues Band asks the question, how's my heart rate now? It's now starting to go down again. And instead of that raw savagery, which is all around us, it's dissipated completely. And now the energy is one of complete peace as we watch that elephant bull having his drink. And the hippo gently in the background next to the ellie. You can just see it sticking its head out the water there. And It could escalate again. I can hear the dog screaming now inside the bush. Suddenly the piece is shattered. The elephant's head lifts.
Yeah, they were in some of them are going east, some of them are going north.
And you can hear the radio going. I'm just leaving it on there so that you can hear what's happening. Craig's just calling in that they're heading some north, some east. So as far as you're concerned, north is towards the dam wall there, and east is to the right-hand side of your picture. And the ultimately peaceful bird, the chin spot batters, calls after that utter savagery we just had. Right, Scotty is still with the hyena, so let's head across and get an update from him.
Well, we've got two sub-adult hyena slinking about here. We're probably 100 meters or so behind James. It sounds like the wild dog don't know which direction they want to go, and they're moving north, south, east, west, backwards, forwards. And it'll be interesting to see what happens if the wild dog get a hold of these two hyena, because they are much smaller and a lot less experienced than the other hyena I've seen running around here. But the two, just like that other one, are sniffing about very intently. And I think they've come into this area to investigate. I'm not sure if you guys have seen them running around here as the chaos was unfolding earlier. Ooh, they've stopped and they're listening. They were, at least for a second, listening back in the direction of where those wild dogs are moving. They've now decided to start running off away from the action. Maybe they've realized what they're up against. Hello, Vicky in Chicago. You would like to know if there's any chance that the wild dogs would follow the hyena back to the den. There is a chance that would happen. You say that the hyena have got the advantage. That's not always necessarily the case. Maybe they have had the advantage temporarily this morning, but wild dogs can certainly cause a lot of mayhem for hyena. They can really pin them down and cause a lot of damage to them, like we saw not so long ago towards the end of last year. We saw a pack of wild dog really teaching a hyena a lesson. So they can, obviously, at a den site, the young pups can run down into the burrows where they can escape. And if the adults needed to, they would obviously try and defend the cubs. Interestingly, Jamie was at the hyena den and she was answering a question as to what would happen if wild dogs came up onto the scene. And you wouldn't believe it, but 30 seconds later, wild dogs arrived. And all that happened was that the wild dogs ran through, and it was the same pack, actually. It was the Sands pack that ran through. Didn't really get too involved, didn't really batter an eyelid at the hyena. The adult hyena just lay there where they were, watching the wild dogs run around. The wild dogs definitely would have known that it was a hyena den, but didn't pay too much attention to it. Well, it looks like we've got the older hyena, the scarred hyena that we've seen dribbling from its genitals, either a penis or a greatly enlarged clitoris, depending on whether it's a male or a female. It's going to come straight past us. We're going to get some great views. Well, Eric, very happy to hear that you're still shaking with excitement after that incredibly exciting experience you shared with James and the wild dog and the hyena. They really do cause such a fuss when they are on the property, the wild dogs. Wonderful animals to have around. So happy that you got to experience the joy and excitement of following them. It's going to reverse. It looks like there's been quite a commotion under this tree. I can see a lot of loose soil. Oh, you can even see a little bit of blood on this hyena's rump where it would have received a nip from the wild dogs. Just to the right of its spine, I could see a tiny little chunk of flesh missing. But I wonder what exactly happened under this tree, because, like I said, there's clear sign of a lot of movements where animals have been running around under there, so possibly that's where a hyena may have tried to seek refuge when it was under attack by the wild dogs. I'm not sure, but there's clear sign, and you could clearly see that hyena sniffing intently over there. I didn't make my way past the hyena den on the way here, but it appears like all the hyena are actually, well, at least were actually here. They may slowly be making their way back there, so maybe we'll pop in on our way back to camp just to see if all is in order. But I think for now it does make sense for us to stay here in case those wild dogs keep coming south. Wouldn't it be just absolutely wonderful to know what it's thinking? Why is it still lurking around here? What is it trying to achieve? What's going on in that little head of yours, hyena? Probably doing some damage control. It's probably starting to feel the nips from the wild dog now, if this was the individual that was attacked, because of the kind of adrenaline and excitement is subsiding. And now it's going to start to appreciate the tenacity of those wild dogs. It's fascinating that they do take on prey or other predators so much bigger than them. Hyena are at least twice the size of your average wild dog. I even saw a clip quite recently, it's just a photographic sequence rather, of wild dogs attacking a lioness. And that was a phenomenal sighting that was at, I think it was up in Botswana, where that lioness made the wrong move and took on a pack of wild dogs alone. I think there's even a fleck of blood on the hyena's face, on the, just above its, yeah, look, just below its eye and its mouth. So it's got another little nip there. And going back into the area, still not content with its investigations. Beautiful dark clouds in the sky today. Really been loving the scenery out here. Hopefully some of these dark clouds will actually bring us some rain. Morning, Craig. Again.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, very good.
Where did they drag that carcass to?
I didn't see. I missed all the action. But it sounds like you guys got some good stuff.
Yeah.
Very nice. They did?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So Craig says the wild dogs headed east away from the waterhole, so there is still a chance they're going to continue south from there. So I might turn around and follow Craig and leave James to keep this area covered. James is just up ahead of us. Come on, wild dogs. Give us a surprise and come back. Curious one, you would like to know if wild dogs will, or sorry, the hyena will now find a little mud wallow to cool off in, or will it head back to the den? Either of those two things are both likely options. Which one it's going to choose, it's hard to say.
So I'm going to come in from the signpost, if I can get the new points of there, scratch around what it's called, on access maybe.
I'm not even sure if that hyena is in fact a member of our clan that does frequent the den. I don't recognize it. It's got lots of scars on it, so, but again, I'm the worst person to recognize these animals. You guys are often in a far better situation, both in terms of your understanding of how each animal looks different to the next, and also the fact that you'll be seeing it on big screens, often clearer than our dusty little monitor that I'm looking at it through. But if it is a member of the clan and that den, it could head back there, or, you know, if it doesn't have any responsibilities or cubs to feed, it could just go and relax in a mud wallow, soothing its injuries. Oh, just gonna let Andrew come past. And we'll take it slowly. They can leap ahead of us. Morning, Andrew. Morning, everyone. Looked like one of his guests was sleeping on the back there. Hard to believe. But I think she may have just been basking in the morning sunshine. It's a very nice feeling after what's been quite a chilly morning. Good to have the sun out. Hi, Vernie. You've mentioned that in Moremi, which is in Botswana, if I'm not mistaken, hyenas are known to trail predators like leopard and wild dog and lion. And you're wondering if that's the same here? Yes, definitely. Hyenas are very clever animals that know if they follow predators, there's a strong chance that they'll be able to steal an easy meal from them. And that's definitely the case with the hyena of the Sabi Sands. Now, whether or not the hyena were following the wild dogs, or they heard them or saw the commotion, I'm not too sure. But what's fascinating is how quickly the word spread. I mean, I'm not sure how many hyenas were around in total, but I'm guessing quite a few. So the word obviously spread. The bush telegraph was effective in getting that message across to the other clan members, or even members from other clans, but they all descended upon that opportunity quite quickly. And for those of you who are a little bit more experienced in following us here on Safari Live in Djuma, you'll realize that most of the time the wild dogs, sorry, the hyena will actually move alone.
Thanks, and yeah, enjoy. I'm going to travel east along the cut line, checking closely with project. I'll leave them that they're coming to Kuzumati at
So I just want to chat to Craig. He has relocated the pack. I just want to see if there's a chance they're going to come to us. Craig, any chance they're going to continue to the cut line from there?
They are stepping at the moment. They're all in the water as soon as they do reaching up.
Okay, copy, thanks. Confirm I should just stick around the signboards. Okay, so good news. Craig has found the wild dogs again. We're just going to let these other guys pass. Not on the wild dog hunt, they're just trying to get to work, I think, wherever they may work, at one of the camps in Buffelshoek, I'm guessing. So the wild dogs at the moment are just off to our left. It sounds though like they've just been cooling off in a little mud wallow. The whole pack is apparently in the water. That would have been fun to see. From there, though, they need to continue south for us to see them. I fear, though, that Craig has just said that they're heading further east, not towards us. There's still a little vague chance, though, that could change. What you got there, Vince?
About 3 o'clock.
Looks like Wium spotted some warthogs.
I would say forward was a bit, maybe. I know where
Are you going to come back into the garden?
Ah, little piglets. Where's your mum?
to the left.
Okay, Wium says the mother is to the left in the thicker bush. Sandra Evans, yes, I did hear that there was a jackal in the sighting. I'm not sure whether it was a black-backed jackal or a side-striped jackal. But either way, very happy that you did get to see a jackal. Oh, it was the black-backed jackal. Actually less common in the Sabi Sands than the side-striped. Yeah, it's a general rule in southern Africa is that the side-striped are less common, but it's a kind of roles reverse in this Sabi Sands Reserve. So count yourselves lucky to have seen that. In Germany, are you wondering about the likelihood of, you know, wild dogs, hyena and jackal all sharing kills in the Sabi Sands? Is it something that happens often? You've noted that in Botswana there have been a wild dog that's teamed up with a jackal. I haven't heard that. I've heard of wild dog spending time a lot with hyena, but I can't remember. Have I also heard and seen pictures of the jackal? Maybe I have. But that was a very rare scenario where one wild dog was basically marooned on an island, was the last remaining member of its pack, and it adapted and did make friends with hyena and possibly jackal as well. So fascinating stuff. Because they are such highly social animals, I guess this very bizarre scenario that left this wild dog alone and no choice than to other than to make friends with the hyena or jackal, you know, it did that. But it's not normal, and I guess it's a sad scenario that that specific wild dog was in. Regarding sharing kills, I mean, it does happen from time to time. We've seen leopard and hyena basically co-feeding, taking turns feeding on a carcass here. It will happen from time to time, but I wouldn't say that it's common that you see those three species together sharing a kill. Very, very fortunate that you did get to see that. It's a rarity, and there's no way of describing why one day the wild dogs will be able to overpower a hyena and attack them and keep them at bay, and the other days they'll have to just succumb to them and share their food. It's not that they enjoy sharing with other species, that is for certain. They probably just weighed up the odds and thought that it's not worth the injury or risk, so why don't they just both snack and be friends temporarily before going their separate ways. In South Bend, Indiana, you would like to know if the jackal is more threatened by a wild dog or hyena. I would say wild dog, because wild dog are faster and more capable of catching a jackal if they really wanted to. Hyena, I don't think, are nimble enough to be able to catch them, but obviously if a hyena did get a hold of a jackal, it would require just one bite with those bone-crunching jaws. But like I said, the hyena are going to have a hard time trying to catch up to a very fast-footed and nimble jackal. We're going to make our way to the hyena den now to see what's going on there. I'm guessing we're going to find one or two members relaxing after the chaos, possibly nursing their cubs. I know one hyena apparently dragged a large portion of the kill away, and I've never actually seen a hyena return to a den with a large chunk of meat. So not sure where it would have taken it, maybe somewhere nearby to a little pantry. Back when we we do get there, but for now you guys are going to go back to James for an update on what his plans are.
We're still recovering, of course, from that astonishing sighting that we had there of the hyena and the dogs. It will be known as the Day of the Hyena and the Dogs from this day forth, the leap year of 2016, the leap day. We're going to go along to Buffelshoek Dam at the moment and see what we can find there. I know that the dog pack did head east down through Buffelshoek, and they might pop out a little bit later, they might not. But it was just wonderful, wonderful stuff. And while you were gone, we were putting together sort of a highlights package, exciting like that. We will then do a quick interview for, and we'll edit it into a package at some stage. I'm not sure when or how they'll be published, but that's the idea. And it's amazing to me how difficult it is to do a recorded talk versus a live one, because obviously whatever I say now, I can't edit. It just goes out there. But with the recorded one, it's obviously slightly different. So that's why it took me so long to come back to you, I'm afraid. Some hoodoos here who lost one of their number today to those dogs. And Penny Pine, thank you for your very kind compliment as we reabsorb the peace of the wilderness. You say that you feel we're very professional because after a sighting like that, you would have had to go home. Yeah, it was emotionally draining and well, exhilarating at the same time. And I was just chatting to Bryan as you went off to Scott to watch the hyenas there. We get a lot of questions about danger out here, and I'm often not sure, and I'm still not sure how to succinctly put it. I think that people are fascinated by, I don't think it's so much the danger as it is the savagery of the wilderness. And I come back to this quote again and again, where an old Native American Indian said, he said, the wilderness will just as soon kill you as it will save you. And it's this juxtaposition for me of that wild savagery that we watched there, with that hyena, its ears flat back on its head, its teeth bared, snapping at those dogs, and the dogs coming from all angles, biting at its backside, trying to have a go at it. And then you go away from that, and suddenly there's a chin spot batters calling, like a piccolo, after a huge Wagner kind of movement. There's just this, and an elephant bull tossing a bit of water on his face or over his head. And suddenly from this scene of savagery that we're not used to as human beings anymore, it's just this peace comes welling out of all over. And then it can escalate again back into it as the dogs chase off something else. And I think when people ask about the danger out here, I think what they're really saying is, can I touch that savagery? Can I touch that piece of life that is, well, it was part of all of us, of course. And I think that's what they're saying. I might be talking utter nonsense, Bryan. What do you think? Bryan's not one to pass compliments unless they're deserved, and see, he's not looking too shocked. So I'm thinking maybe I might be getting somewhere close to what I'm actually trying to say. And over the next little while, I'll try and succinctly put it. But I think when people say, "Is it dangerous out there?" they want to know, can I touch that wild side of life? Well, you just did. So we'll go off to Buffelshoek Dam and have a little bit of a relax. Now, Natasha, you want to know if that hyena is going to recover from that injury. Natasha, I think that the hyena will absolutely recover. It did look like it was limping quite badly, but you know, hyenas are amazingly resilient. All of the animals out here are amazingly resilient. The they can lose limbs sometimes and survive absolutely fine. A hyena, of course, can take a risk, unlike a leopard or a cheetah, because it lives in a clan. And so it has the safety of the clan. It can go back to the den where it can recover, and it can lie there relatively safe in the knowledge that if something comes along, it will be alerted to whatever that thing's presence might be. And so it can recover there. And we had one of the males doing that the other day. And he looked for all the world. I mean, if you saw a domestic animal like that, you would assume that it was going to die. You'd rush it off to the vet. He was limping. It looked like his wrist was perhaps broken. It wasn't, though. And in 2 days' time, we saw him trotting off. Well, he looked a bit manky, had a couple more battle scars, but he was fine. And I think that's going to be the case with that hyena. And that hyena is the scar-backed female. I think that's June's mother. A very distinct scar just underneath where her kidneys are. Very experienced hyena. She knows what's going on. She knew what she was getting into there. Margaret Betcher, you want to know what started the fight? Margaret, it was simply the fact that there was food. And then what happened was, initially, I mean, I wasn't there for the whole sighting, but what happened initially was that the dogs killed a kudu. There were 2 or 3 hyena around. They came in, and then there was a standoff. But the hyenas then started making a noise. And all the other hyenas from the clan in the area heard about it, and they went running in. And then they outnumbered the dogs. And so the dogs held back and they waited. And they were in and out, and that jackal was unbelievable. Coming in and out, trying to steal a little piece of meat here and there, and then it backed off again. And what happened then was that the hyenas, as Bryan said, it's almost like the order to scatter came. And the youngsters went off into the north. Some of the adults went back towards the den, and the scar-backed female, what did you describe her as, Bryan? A greedy guts. Greedy guts. Greedy guts. Picked up the head of the kudu and thought she'd just wander back to the den with it. And she suddenly found herself isolated. And because the numbers then were suddenly in the dog's favor, they went in. They would have died if she hadn't backed up against the bush there. Actually, she was getting totally exhausted. You could see at the end that she was just dragging her backside around. So we're just going through the dip there where the signal isn't very good. And I think, like I say, I think they would have killed her had she not backed into that bush. She was getting very tired, you could see, and she was starting to lose kind of the speed of moving. What was that? Sorry, Leanne, all I heard was blah, 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 blah. Oh, let's link to a bird with Scott.
Well, I don't think I've ever managed to get you guys this close to a purple roller. Oh, it looks like it's about to fly. Look at that beautiful coloration on its wings. It's just come out of the Gallagher waterhole. That's why it's wet, and off it goes. It looks like it's going back there for another swim, maybe. No. We came to the Gallagher waterhole in the hope that we'd find a hyena wallowing here, as there was no action at the den. So I figured that the hyena might be trying to cool off here, but it doesn't look like that is the case. It just appears like the purple roller was the only animal interested in cooling off now. There's the little waterhole to our left there, nothing in there. So who knows what the hyena up to? Maybe they're just chewing on whatever remains they managed to steal and run away with, or just catching their breath in a cool shady area, or one of the many other mud wallows that are around at the moment after that recent rain we've had. There were no sign of them at the den, sadly. So apologies for those of you who are eagerly awaiting that. I was really expecting us to find some there. But that is the joy of being on safari. As we so often say, you simply do not know what is going to happen and or when it may happen. A little bushbuck. So an antelope you don't see too often. This is a young male. It is the smallest of the spiral horn antelope that we get here. The bigger cousins are the nyala, and there's, what is it? That's the young male again, but he does have his mother here as well. Hey, John in Tennessee. Well, you've joined us since the most recent Big Cat Week in November last year, and you've never seen a bushbuck yet. You've seen and done a lot of bird watching, you say, but I'm wondering if there are no bushbuck here. No, there are bushbuck. We just don't see them very often. They tend to like to hang around the camps and the riverine areas, which we don't have too many of here at Djuma. So at least now you've got to see one, a young male, and his mother. Ah, I recognize his mother. She's got a very distinctive notch out of her left ear there. She's sometimes in our garden across at Inga's house, which is one of the areas of accommodation where some of us stay. The rest of
the one that chased you out of the shower.
I don't know if it is the one that chased me out of the shower, Wium. No, well, that was a big male that was sleeping in my outdoor shower. It gave me the frights of my life. Thank you for reminding me of that. Not you, you're still a baby male. Maybe your father. I walked into the shower after dark and got the fright of my life as this bushbuck that was lying down right at the back end of the shower jumped up. Well, I'm not sure why our audio isn't working. Oh, you know why?
I'm not picking it up.
The battery's run out here, Wium. I know it hasn't, it's still there.
No, I'm not getting your level.
Well, apologies for the crackly audio. Nothing's changed here, so not too sure what it could be.
It's a direction, I suppose. Jackal. Hyenas have gone there, well, hopefully somewhere on our property. That will be a surprise for the sunset safari. Well, James Richards, you've been doing some research on the black-crowned night terns that we'll hopefully be able to show you this afternoon or tomorrow morning at least. I'll specifically go out in search of them at the Buffelshoek waterhole, where I'm hoping they're going to camp out now that there is some water in there. And you say that the research that you have done is, or has provided you, or now us, with the information that the black-crowned night terns that we get here are exactly the same as the ones that you get in America. Isn't that fascinating? You wonder how and when they managed to get across there. There are no birds that I know of that migrate across the Atlantic. So maybe it was many, many thousands of years ago, when all of the continents split, that the black-crowned night tern headed across there and hasn't evolved since. Fascinating. Joel in New York, you have heard a tale of elephants running around the streets of India, and you're wondering whether wild animals can be seen roaming the streets of the well-populated cities of South Africa. Firstly, I know that you do get wild leopard also seen in cities in India. Whether it's wild elephants or domesticated elephants, which there are a lot of in India, I'm not too sure the ones that you say were roaming around those streets. But what's interesting is that we don't really get wild animals roaming the streets of South Africa, especially not the big cities like Johannesburg, like you mentioned. Most animals, wild animals, occur in a fenced, enclosed reserve where they can be protected from humans. Where they cannot be protected by humans, they tend to not do too well. Having said that, though, occasionally, from time to time, there are rare glimpses of wild animals in some of the cities. Some of the cities that border the Kruger National Park, or towns, I guess, are better words than cities. Recently, a leopard was caught on CCTV outside a shopping chain called WildEarth in a town called White River, very close to us. Kind of grocery store. Fascinating, but it is known that leopards do slink in and around kind of urbanized areas, flying below the radar very secretively. Some African countries like Botswana still have elephants moving through or across major highways or on the outskirts of towns, but in South Africa it's very, very seldom, and if ever it is, it's an animal that's escaped. Although there's one town called St. Lucia in Zululand, north of Durban, the town where I live, where there's a lot of hippos that move through that little town. That's because the town is situated in the middle of a very large wetland area where many hippos occur. So yes, occasionally you will see wild animals in towns, but it's of absolute rarity in South Africa. Hello, Boyd in North Carolina. You would like to know what is the fastest animal after the cheetah, or at least predator in this area? Well, it's probably over a short distance, I would say. Leopard have the explosive speed that will put them second behind cheetah. But wild dog have got a different kind of speed, and that's a speed that they can sustain for very long periods of time, but probably not quite as explosive as a leopard, but probably close. The cheetah and the leopard and the wild dog. I think lions, due to their bulk, would be slightly slower. But I'm also forgetting the birds of prey. There's a lot of birds of prey that can move at incredibly high speeds as they hunt down their prey, but obviously that's comparing mammals to birds. The peregrine falcon is actually the fastest animal on the planet, faster than the cheetah, and it can reach speeds of actually 300 kilometers an hour, which is around how many miles? About 180 miles an hour, flying, literally, at breakneck speed. Let's hope we find you some predators while we continue towards the end of the sunrise safari, and while we venture forth, we are going to be sending you back to James.
We're here at Buffelshoek waterhole, everyone, where there were some swallows swooping down onto the surface of the water, probably having a drink, maybe gathering the odd insect. They're not renowned for doing that off the surface of the water, but here comes one now. Let's see if it drops down. No, it's just flying around. Now, I think what they're doing, they're flying around the top of the dam here because there are insects flying around too. And so the water, which has attracted the insects, will in turn be attracting the birds. But otherwise, there's not much going on here. So I think we'll probably press along and see what else we can see. It's difficult to maintain one's sense of absolute enthusiasm after that unbelievable dog and wild hyena sighting. But it's the most lovely morning. We have some sunshine. We have some clouds dissipating the sunlight. And Michelle, you're in New Jersey, worried about little June, and you want to know if June and the other sub-adult got out of there. I'm pretty sure they did, June, at least Michelle, who's not June. You may lose the signal here. I'm just going to be quiet for a second while we go through, and I will answer your question the other end, but I'm pretty sure they got away, yeah. I think you probably are. The reason I'm pretty confident that June and the other sub-adult got away is that all of the dogs were seen at the dam just shortly after that, and I think they killed again. They killed that little scrub hare probably, and yeah, so I'm pretty sure that they got away. They were the first to run. I'm not sure what, as Bryan said, it was almost like the command to scatter was given, and then they all disappeared, and I'm not really sure why that happened. But they were the first to run. They didn't run towards the den, interestingly. They ran deep into Buffelshoek. But they will make their way back towards the den, I'm sure, as the day goes on. They were fine. We'll definitely go back there during the course of the evening and see if we can find the injured one. And Stebig from England, you say you reckon that hyena was from a different clan, and therefore that's the reason she wasn't helped by the others. Aqua and Stebig, I would say that was a relatively valid comment, but for the fact that A, she was a female, which means it's unlikely that she would have gone anywhere near a sort of clan fight outside of her clan area without other clan members. B, we recognize her, we know her, she's got that scarred back. She's June's mother as far as I'm aware. And C, when she did run away, eventually she went straight towards the den. So I'm pretty sure that she's from that clan. I don't know why they left her alone. I think that she suddenly found herself isolated, like Bryan said. She was the last to leave the kill. She was the last one there trying to get food. And I think she just found herself isolated. And it will be very interesting to see this evening what she looks like and how she is, how she's feeling. And we'll see what else we can find on the way, but I can guarantee you it won't be anything like that. The other interesting thing is that we managed to get that ball of GoPros running at the same time, which means that will eventually be a virtual reality sighting with any luck, and you will be able to look down at the dogs and the hyenas running where we couldn't even see them because they were too close. You'll be able to look down at them running under and around the thing. You'll be able to look at our expressions. You'll be able to even look at the other vehicles, and you'll perhaps see a dog or the jackals in the background. It'll be an unbelievable thing to see in a 360-degree environment. Penny, you're in Indiana and you want to know about the emotional toll that this job takes, and watching a sighting like that, and does it take its toll emotionally? Penny, to be honest, no, I don't think it does. I think it's far more, I don't think it's a drain, I think it's a fill watching a sighting like that, because we are detached from it. Yes, it is difficult watching something like that zebra and the lions that we watched the other night. Not so much the hyena and the wild dogs, because the hyena, you know, can defend itself, and it did defend itself admirably. But if you're watching lions on a zebra kill and a zebra foal, then then I felt a genuine sense of sadness. I didn't feel a sense of sadness today. I felt a sense of wonder and a sense of, I suppose it's a slight sense of horror, because you know that this hyena could die. It could be killed in front of you. Then it would have been perhaps a little bit sad. But at the end of it, Penny, I don't feel emotionally drained. I feel I feel fulfilled, I suppose, and it's because, as I was saying, we're touching something that is real and natural, and yeah, there's something very deep inside me that it's not like watching. It's not like watching two people fight, for example. I find that very difficult. I can't do that. And I don't think it's like a paramedic, for example, who's got to drive around and attend accident scenes and that sort of stuff. I think that is emotionally draining. And for me, because our species is it's not our own species, it feels, yes, that the emotion, the sense of emotion is amazingly strong. And there are times of sadness, but it's times of exhilaration, it's times that it's touching something so deep inside, and yeah, that I don't feel that it leaves me drained. Bryan, do you feel drained by it at all?
No.
What did it leave you feeling?
I don't know. It's a tough one.
It is difficult. I mean, Bryan, of course, is also looking through the lens, and so he is removed, and so that's quite a difficult one. Okay, well, while we ponder on these philosophical things, let's head across to a lizard with Scott.
Well, this is an animal we don't get to see very often. It's called a blue-headed lizard. Oh, sorry, Wium. Didn't realize we weren't in gear there, so the car just started rolling back. This is, in all likelihood, a female. Because of its more dull coloration. The males at this time of the year, during the summer months, will have usually a bright blue head. Very interesting agamas these. It's a triagama or a blue-headed lizard. I think a triagama is the more official term for them. And look at how good its camouflage is, along with that marula bark. It's a marula tree that it's latched onto. They sometimes do funny head-bobbing motions when communicating with one another, shaking their heads backwards and forwards. So that's something to look out for on the next sighting we have of one of those little reptiles. Well, what a morning it's been. A lot of the action was not where we were, but happy that you guys got spoiled with some incredible scenes with the wild dog, hyena, and jackal. Three carnivores that I don't remember when last we've ever seen all three of those in the same sighting. So that could have been a first in over a year of taking safaris here. So count yourselves lucky, and I'm looking forward to looking back at the highlights of that action. Thank you, Wium, on camera. Thank you, Leanne, who directed the show, and to everyone else who was lending her hand in the final control room. And thank you, of course, to you guys for your help and contributions. It's been great fun, and I'm looking forward to the Sunset Safari. Hopefully we're going to track down the Nkuhuma Pride, as well as those black crown night herons. So something to look forward to for the predator lovers and for the bird watchers. Anyway, for now, back to James. We'll see you all on the Sunset Safari.
Right, we're back with us for the last few minutes, everyone, and I think I'm slightly overwhelmed by the things. I'm perhaps not expressing myself quite clearly enough. Yeah. What an amazing sighting. I tell you what, in the last 3.5 minutes, please quickly tweet through in 3 words how that made you feel. Just in 3 words, quickly, hashtag Safari Live, tell us what you felt, or send us an email. Just a quick one from the last 3.5 minutes, and tell us how that raw savagery of the wilderness made you feel. I'd be fascinated to know, because I find I've got lots of there's a tiny little baby nyala. And this is where, of course, these emotions change all the time. And there is the newness of the cute little life. After what was nearly ended. And Penny Pine, you say it made you feel scared. Well, I think that's perfectly valid, entirely valid response to have. Around us, the orioles are calling. Spider hunting wasp, you can hear. Zzz, as it flies around, looking for spiders to lay its eggs in. So, Deb, in Ohio, you picked up something here. The hyena was so close, and you said, did I ever feel like it was going to jump onto the vehicle with the excitement? That hyena did think about it. It absolutely thought about it. When it came up to the right-hand side of the car here, and we couldn't see it anymore, and the dogs came up and cornered it against, it looked up onto the bonnet, and it made a very slight movement towards trying to kind of get on top of here, and then it looked at us and it decided, no, and it went round the other side. Now, it would have been an absolutely terrifying experience. I don't think the dogs would have followed it, but I think it was touch and go with that thing jumping onto the bonnet to try and get away from those hyenas. Luckily, it's not a climber. I have had a leopard being set upon by wild dogs like that, and it did jump onto the car, and that was by far the most terrifying thing I ever experienced in the bush, and thankfully it left us alone. But yes, it can, absolutely it can. And Michelle Robinson, you say scared, excited and amazed, and I think that's a pretty good summary of what was happening there. Anyway, that's it from us today. Thank you, Bryan.
Thank you, Joe.
For your efforts. Bryan, that's the thumb. How did the thumb feel, Bryan?
Marvellous.
The thumb really enjoyed that sighting, of course. Well done, thumb.
The thumb was...
And a big thanks to... A big thanks to Leanne and Nikki and Kirsty in the final control, and of course to Scott on the other vehicle, and he was being filmed by the inimitable Wium Dornbrook. To all of you, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your questions and comments throughout the morning, and we will see you this afternoon. We'll go and see how that hyena is doing, and until then, stay safe and happy wherever you are. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.